Hello, dear friend. Welcome to Carrie's Cozy Corner, a safe place where you can let go of all the cares of the day, settle busy thoughts, relax your body, and release any tension that you may be holding. I hope you will think of me as a friend, someone who is here simply to keep you company, to ease your mind, and to help you drift into the deep, restorative sleep you deserve. Often life presents us with challenges, worries, and hardships that may compel our thoughts to race and fill us with anxiety, resulting in elusive sleep. Throughout my own life, I too have struggled with this, and I was deeply grateful to discover sleep talkdowns, meditations, and bedtime stories. For me, I am almost always sound asleep before I ever hear the end, and I hope the same will be true for you. My wish is that you find these stories soothing, that here in Carrie's Cozy Corner, you discover a safe and welcoming place, a place where you can rest, release the weight of the day, and drift into peaceful, healing sleep. In tonight's story, you'll receive a mysterious invitation to a grand Victorian manor. Your intuition and curiosity will draw you to the estate, where you are free to wander through its halls and take in the opulence and history of its shadowy rooms. Here, you will discover breathtaking architectural details and priceless heirlooms that herald back to a time of luxury and elegance. Whilst you make your way through the great house, you will come upon a series of carefully placed clues that will guide you on your way to a hidden door that grants you entry to a secret room, a haven of peace and solitude. In this secret sanctuary, you will find your way to peaceful slumber and beautiful dreams. Let's take a moment now to settle into a state of deep relaxation. Feel the weight of your body against the softness beneath you. Allow all the tension of the day to leave you. Imagine that it rises up and out of you, drifting upward and away toward the stars above. This is your time to just be present in the moment, safe, still, and quiet. There is no place you need to be right now, and nothing you need to do. If a thought should arise, a regret from the past, or a worry for the future, take the briefest of moments to acknowledge it, and then let it go. Like raindrops that cast rippling halos across the glassy surface of a calm lake before quietly vanishing into the whole, allow your thoughts to just dissipate. Let's take a moment together now to breathe. Take a deep, slow breath in and hold. Now exhale slowly, completely. Empty your lungs and hold. Again, breathe in. Let all the tension of the day melt away. And out. Imagine that you are weightless and buoyant. One more time. Breathe in and out. And now, let's begin. You've just arrived home from a busy, productive day, and while you feel a sense of satisfaction at having accomplished so much, you are relieved to be home, where you can finally settle into the hushed evening and unwind from the hustle and bustle of the day. Soothing music quietly glides through the house. You take a deep, slow breath. But suddenly, a noise at the front door, followed by the whispering slap of paper against hardwood. You turn toward the foyer and see that someone has deposited a letter through the mail slot. There was no rap at the door, and no other announcement of a visitor. How odd! It is far too late for the postman to call. You approach the door and spy an envelope lying stark and pale against the darkly polished walnut floor. You stoop to retrieve it and study it closely. It is a textured grain with soft feathered edges, sealed with a fat shining dollop of pressed wax, the dark, rich color of claret. It is an intriguing embellishment, stamped with an ornate crest bearing the proud profile of a lion. There is no return address, no stamp, nothing to intimate the identity of the sender, only your name written in elegant looping script that sprawls across the bisque-colored parchment. The ink is a dark sepia that almost seems to breathe as if it is alive. The letter smells faintly of lavender and old wood smoke, as though it has slumbered in a cedar-lined drawer for decades, waiting patiently to realize its destiny for this very moment. You break the seal, unfold the paper, and read. The words feel somehow familiar. It is clear they were written especially for you.
Dearest friend, you are most cordially invited to spend an evening within the halls of an aged and historied house, a great Victorian manor, whose doors open only for those who hold quiet wonder in their hearts. The chambers of this vast home are steeped in rich history, where shadows of the past welcome you to find soothing respite. As the moon ascends, so too shall the house receive you. Step softly through its gardens, with silver starlight to guide your way, and discover the warmth that beckons you from within. Beyond every room lies another secret, and somewhere above, in a chamber hidden beneath the eaves, awaits a sanctuary for you alone, a place of solace, serenity, and dreams. Bring with you nothing more than curiosity and a heart that is open. All else will be given freely. Yours, in quiet anticipation, a friend.
As you read, a sated feeling of calm fills you. Your eye flits over the details, and you hasten to book a car, trusting your intuition and the irresistible pull of your heart. The car glides through dusk. Neat rows of houses give way to wild clusters of trees, their swaying leaves silhouetted against the darkening sky. Streetlights rush past, leaving golden trails that sigh into gray. You pass sleepy fields of gently waving wheat, a narrow, whispering river, dense, orderly hedgerows, a stout stone wall. As the countryside passes, your breath slows. The day begins to loosen its hold. At last, the car turns down a shadowy lane, lined with stately old oaks. Between their branches, you glimpse a hint of a soaring rooftop, the pointed peak of a gable, the briefest suggestion of a dental cornice. As the car approaches the estate, dusk tenderly yields to night. You study the sky as a feeling of expectancy begins to flutter in your stomach like a kaleidoscope of ebullient butterflies. The late afternoon has passed. Its bright rays have dulled and retreated, summoned home by the retiring sun as it drowsily sinks beneath the edge of the earth to settle into slumber. The moon rises in its place. Proudly donning her luminous silver gown, she drapes pale radiance over the grounds of the manor. Twilight hour has come, a time of immeasurable beauty and enchantment, when the sky paints sweeping strokes of lavender across fiery layers of deep crimson and burnt amber. The first evening star is just beginning to appear, a tiny pinprick of glimmering light. The car stops in front of a towering wrought iron gate, its bars tipped with delicate spear points. It is open wide like open arms, waiting to receive you. Beyond the gate, a long cobbled drive winds graceful and serpentine toward an imposing yet beautiful Victorian mansion. Its silhouette looms toward the sky, punctuated by stalwart gables and a rounded turret straight from the pages of a fairy tale. A wraparound veranda embraces the lovely house like a gentle lover. You imagine days gone by, white-painted cast-iron chairs with curving lines and floral motifs, genteel ladies perched atop, sipping tea and nibbling dainty finger sandwiches. You take a step forward and feel your body begin to relax as your shoulders soften. A sense of serenity has begun to settle upon you, so gently that you almost didn't notice. Your footfalls echo against the cobbled drive, and you stroll past impeccably manicured gardens. Low boxwood hedges outline parterres in stunning symmetrical patterns, resembling small leafy labyrinths. They frame picturesque flower beds, drawing your eye to colorful clusters of blossoms that welcome the coolness of night and perfume the air. A tidy gravel path crunches underfoot and guides you past a small fountain. Water flows over carved stone, cascading in silver sheets. Its gentle bubbling whispers sleepy secrets. You pause and breathe in the intoxicating scents of the nascent evening. Sugared floral notes mingle pleasantly with those of damp stone, rich earthy undertones, and the clean scent of fresh cut grass. The mansion's facade draws you closer. Scalloped shingles armor the gabled roof. Like russet-colored dragon scales, they call to mind magical bedtime stories of yore. You approach the sprawling porch. Stately Corinthian columns flank great double doors. lively colors, muted now by the deep navy sheath of night, live in every surface. From brightly painted gingerbread trim to dazzling stained glass. A fanlight window proudly crowns the doors, whilst narrow sidelight windows frame them. A vivid spectrum of color radiates through their bright leaded glass in variegated brilliance. You stand, a bit timidly, gazing at the coupled doors. They are tall and monumental, heavy, ornately carved of sturdy oak, strong and steadfast. A fearsome-looking brass lion's head gnashes its teeth in a cautioning growl. A large, weighty ring dangles from its mouth. It is a paradox, you think, a fierce protector, and yet, somehow, still welcoming. You hesitate for the briefest of moments before reaching for the door handle. The latch answers with a succinct click. You gently push the door open and release a soft sigh before slowly stepping inside. You see a darkened vestibule with tessellated tiles that flaunt an intricate mosaic pattern of geometric shapes and deep, bold colors. A lovely rosewood demi-lune table with an exquisitely taupe-veined marble top pairs beautifully with a gold-leafed Baroque mirror. The walls are papered in flocked damask, sumptuous as velvet, a dramatic backdrop of deep ruby. Before you awaits the hushed entrance hall, above which is suspended the most resplendent chandelier. Honeyed points of light crown curving brass stems of lilies and are gently diffused by lovely bells of frosted glass. The chandelier drips with a breathtaking array of beautifully faceted crystal teardrops. They capture light to refract and disperse it across the space, like a universe of tiny kaleidoscopic rainbows. A wide staircase with a mahogany balustrade descends to meet the hall. It is anchored by a lovely newel post, carved with a vining acanthus and topped with an acorn finial. As you stand in the stillness of the entrance hall, you breathe in deeply and feel as if the house breathes with you. A sense of welcome settles over you, and you are certain it is pleased you have come. You take a few steps farther into the entrance hall. Beneath the sweeping arc of the staircase, a mahogany console table with curving cabriole legs holds a petite brass tray for receiving calling cards. At its center, your eye alights on a small card. There is writing scrawled across it. You snatch it up excitedly and read.
Where words rest, wisdom waits.
Beneath the sentence, a wispy feathered scribble, a sketch of stacked books. A clue. The first room you enter is the library. The moment you step inside, a cozy blend of scents greets you. Woody notes of aged leather, hints of acrid smoke softened by seasoned wood, the masculine spice of eau de cologne, and the faint, sweet smell of yellowed, curling pages. Intrigued, you study the room. Shelves soar to the lofty ceiling like wise old trees. They are crowded with books, so many books, with glowing gilt-lettered spines, some with raised bands and embossed flourishes. A rolling ladder rests against the shelves. You feel as if it patiently awaits a curious, intrepid reader to climb it and explore its cosmos of carefully crafted words. You sweep your gaze over rows upon rows of books. It is a vast collection of what you imagine to be stories spun of the sagest threads of wisdom. On the floor, a deep Persian rug sprawls in a rich mosaic of color: burnt sienna, dusky indigo, and a deep emerald. Its hand-tufted wool pile is thick and soft, its borders filled with floral arabesques that invite the eye to take note of their beauty. The seating is soft, supple, and elegant. High-backed armchairs rest near the hearth, their surfaces worn smooth by decades of gentle use. Brass reading lamps with delicately frosted glass shades are carefully placed around the room to gently shed ovals of gilded light against hushed shadows. At the heart of the great room is an immense Gothic Revival fireplace, framed by a sculpted alabaster mantel and elaborate corbelled jambs. Above it hangs a large mirror with a carved walnut frame, upon which plump cherubs romp, floral scrolls embellish coupling corners, and winterberry garlands wind along graven edges. Its beveled glass, artfully made in the Victorian era, reflects the room in soft, silvered fragments. A warm fire undulates on the hearth. Its flames stretch upward toward the flue like the svelte, flickering tongues of dragons. The fire dances in whirls of saffron, honeyed gold, and a tawny amber. The soft crackle of wood carries you further toward tranquility. After a few moments of stillness, your attention is drawn to a writing desk, upon which you notice a parchment card with deckled edges, much like the last. You study it closely and detect the faintest scent of cedar and ink. You read,
"Leave the day on the shelf, where rosewood slides, a shadowed secret hides."
Here again, you see a scribbled sketch. This time, a writing quill. A second clue, a riddle of rhyme and whimsy. You take a moment to study the well-oiled grain of the writing desk, guessing it is made of rosewood, and then slowly run a finger along its edge. As you do, you feel a long, narrow groove, barely detectable. You press your hand flat against the panel and gently pull it outward to discover a shallow secret drawer. Inside, a small brass key is tied with a length of ribbon, the darkest shade of indigo to match the deepening color of the night. You pocket the key. A gentle exhale leaves your body as though it too has found a place to rest. When you step back into the hall, your eye drifts to a pair of double doors that open into the drawing room. They stand ajar and beckon you to enter. Is it your imagination, or had they been closed before? You could swear they had been soundly shut. On this night, at every turn, you have faithfully followed your intuition, and you continue to do so now as you enter the room. It is formal and opulent. Its purpose, receiving and entertaining guests. You pause to imagine a time long ago. Through the soft focus lens of your mind's eye, you envision a scene in striking detail. The grand space filled with beautiful Victorian ladies whose cheeks glow rosy and whose lovely faces are framed by lustrous ringlets fastidiously styled by maids in waiting. They flourish gowns with voluminous skirts and billowing clouds of taffeta plumped by layers of petticoats. And their masculine counterparts, tall, handsome gentlemen in inky tailcoats, crisp white waistcoats, and stark white cravats, ceremoniously groomed and standing tall with rigid, squared shoulders. You sigh, thinking of the romance of it all. The drawing room was a stage of sorts where the most esteemed members of society played their roles to strict edicts in a perpetual dance of pomp and ceremony. Now, in the hush of night, more than a century later, you can almost smell the sweetly pungent scent of a fine cigar, its ghostly whispers of silver smoke lingering among baritone murmurs. You can almost see the deep garnet of well-aged port in a crystal decanter. Its fragrance, you imagine, a delicious blend of ripened black cherries and sweet plum nectar. Here and now, the room glows with soft beauty. Ornate gilt frames gently catch golden candlelight. Supple velvet drapery hangs in waving folds, vases brim with heavily perfumed ruffled bourbon roses. The champion of the room is a magnificent grand piano. It gleams, dark and furtive. Its top is open, like a great unfurled dragon's wing. You run your hand across its glossy onyx curves and imagine Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata resonating from it. The colors of the room are drawn from a quiet, muted palette. Flocked damask wallpaper, the somber color of dark sage, is softened by climbing acanthus vines of tarnished gold. Occasional splashes of vibrant amethyst and bold cerulean blue can be spotted among the more conservative colors of the room. Tall sash windows that nearly reach the ceiling are finely dressed in lush layers of deep plum that tumble to the floor in velvet puddles. Your footfalls sound against the well-polished parquet floor. Delicate slats of walnut and oak are methodically interwoven in a lovely herringbone pattern. The floor is partly covered by a thick pile rug of faded crimson. Spoon-back chairs with ornately scrolled arms and gently curving cabriole legs show off deep sapphire velvet and a dark stained walnut. They invite you to sit and rest against their softness. While you are surrounded by decadence, you find the mood of the room to be entirely soothing. Every texture, every curving line, every golden glimmer of light seems to soften the senses, as if not intended to dazzle, but rather to calm. You take a slow breath and allow a shiver to flow through your shoulders, a gentle current relaxing your body even further. And that is when you notice it. Another folded note. It rests against the vase of a small bouquet of roses. Roses the deep, sensual color of scarlet, with a heavy fragrance as thick and sweet as honey. You unfold the note and read.
Follow the lion's gaze.
You look to the far wall where a great gilt-framed oil painting commands the room. It depicts a lion, king of the beasts, sitting proudly among tall grasses with the utmost poise. A regal creature, both stoic and pensive. You follow what you imagine to be its line of view. Its gaze appears to penetrate the room, piercing beyond French doors and crossing the long stretch of hallway to finally arrive at the entrance of the conservatory. The conservatory doors are tall, their glass panes etched with curling ferns and rotund blossoms. Though the shift should feel abrupt, as dark oak and polished brass give way to the silver flood of moonlit glass, you find it calming. As you enter the conservatory, the air changes too. It hangs heavy with the sultry scent of damp earth, the balmy touch of dew, and a sweet floral incense that is utterly intoxicating. It feels as though you have stepped into the most enchanted of secret gardens, wonderfully preserved within the protective embrace of the great house and transcendently suspended in time. The conservatory rises like a cathedral of hand-spun crown glass, bound in a filigree of iron tracery. Its domed ceiling catches the silver wash of moonlight and the murmurous glow of a great hanging lantern. At its heart stands a stone jardiniere, overflowing with crimson roses ringed by lush, shining leaves of deep emerald. You notice a wrought iron table set for tea, a gilt-edged settee with embroidered cushions. The furnishings are elegant and intimate, as though the space is meant for both quiet retreat and hushed midnight conversation. All around you, so many details herald the artistry of the house. Fluted columns with gilt Corinthian capitals, flagstone floors polished smooth by more than a century of passing feet, and ornamental lattice windows through which sunlight passes to nurture budding life in the day, and the moonlight bestows soft kisses upon delicate petals by night. Tucked into the corners are carved figures of marble and stone, attentive custodians of the quiet space. You notice a carved lion, hewn of dark granite. It possesses the same proud stature as that of its brethren who dwell as guardians beneath the eaves of the great house. It crouches low, its body stretched in a sinewy curve. There is a sense of vigilance in its posture, a suggestion of coiled strength. It is not at rest, yet not in motion. Its silent guard lends a feeling of safety. The conservatory is at once both wild and cultivated, an Eden encased in wrought iron and glass. It is your own private paradise. You release a slow, long breath. You take a moment to scan the space for clues. Your gaze halts to rest on the wrought iron table. You notice an open-faced piece of parchment lying atop its fretwork lattice. And there it is, the final clue. The script sprawls in the same flamboyant fashion as that of the previous clues.
Upon the stair where one takes pause, that which hangs conceals because, behind the weave of storied loom, there awaits a secret room.
A quiet thrill stirs, as soft as the brush of butterfly wings. You return to the hallway, the brass key warm in your pocket. You step back into the corridor. As you wander through the great entrance hall, you come upon another stair tucked quietly in a corner. At its landing, your eye is instantly drawn to a tapestry which hangs against the dark crimson damask of the wall. And there, a noble lion, woven of the finest threads, in the rich hues of deep emerald and dark ruby. It rears on its hind legs, presiding over a soothing scene of nature at its most harmonious. Rabbits frolic among a backdrop of dense, haphazard flowers, interlacing vines and tall, slender trees. You recognize the 15th century moonlit design, meaning 1,000 flowers. And 1,000 flowers there are. Their beauty draws you further toward a state of calm. There is something about the way the tapestry hangs that seems curious. The bottom edge whispers faintly as if stirred by a quiet draft. But there's no window here and no door that you can see. You lean closer, gently drawing the tapestry aside. Behind it, the paneling is interrupted by a narrow door barely visible. Half concealed in shadow, you discover a weathered iron plate set flush into the small, low-hung door. At its center, a keyhole. Not that of an ordinary door, but of something older, something secret. It whispers an invitation for you to claim passage to what it guards. You tighten your grip on the key in your pocket, and it almost seems to vibrate with energy, a wish repressed for decades to reunite with the lock for which it is meant. As you slowly turn the key, the mechanism of the lock yields. Its answering click resounds in the most satisfying way. The door slowly creaks open, as if its furtive frame has at last released a long-held breath. Beyond the door, you see a steep, narrow staircase, its pine steps worn down in the middle by the stealthy tread of creeping feet over the long life of the great house. The walls are close, lined with rough plaster. A single oil lamp braced to the wall within a lovely glass sconce flickers in quiet anticipation, as though it has been patiently waiting for you alone through many enduring decades. You begin to climb. As your weight settles on each step, there's an answering groan. Every one has its own unique voice, and each takes you higher, farther away from the spectacular display of grand rooms, the splendor of chandeliers, the glimmer of gilt, and closer to the quiet, secret heart of the house. At the top, you reach a small, cramped landing just beneath the sloping roofline. A modest door of mauve-painted pine greets you. Its handle of tarnished brass somehow feels alive beneath your hand. You pause, sensing that something special lies just beyond. You take a deep breath in and hold it as you gingerly open the door and step inside. You slowly release your suspended breath. A feeling of pure tranquility washes over you. This secret space is the quintessence of cozy. Just above you, the ceiling descends steeply, its plaster uneven and time-marked. You find its imperfections perfectly charming. Exposed beams support the sloping ceiling, while slender rafters creep above them to vanish into shadow. A light film of pale dust clings to the wood, as soft and fine as gossamer. In shadowed corners, cobwebs stir like delicate streamers of silver lace. Your senses are overcome. The air is laden with a melange of the sweetest, most decadent fragrances. You detect honeyed hints of cedar, the resinous scent of beeswax, and sugared notes of sweet gum wood smoke. The floor is softened by thick Persian rugs layered one upon the other. They echo the recurring colors of the room. The palette is gentle and calming. Here and there, soft coral, mint green, and golden ochre tangle exquisitely. Against the far wall rests a great plush bed. Its grandeur is palatial, both in scale and effect. It is piled high with down-filled pillows, dressed for slumber in dainty embroidered cases. Intricate lace trim shivers in the soft attic breeze. A coverlet of quilted velvet lies across the bed, the color and downy texture of a well-ripened peach. A lace crocheted throw rests at the foot of the bed, a lovingly interwoven swath of heather gray and soft green, promising comfort. A small cast-iron wood-burning stove stands in one corner, its sated belly full of well-seasoned firewood. It dozes in the shadows. Through the small iron grate of its door, you catch a glimpse of glowing embers that gleam like fiery jewels, roused by mischievous petals of vermilion flame. Beyond the stove, a low round table of rosewood with a marbled top is set with a porcelain tea service. The cups, a delicate bone china with rims encircled in gold leaf, glimmer softly in low tawny light. Tiny painted violets with heart-shaped petals shyly adorn their faces. A steaming cup waits for you. From it, wisps of silver vapor curl upward before vanishing like slow breath in chilled night air. You hold the cup close. It is so very warm in your hands. You slowly breathe in its fragrance, catching traces of sweet meadow grass and ambrosial notes of wildflowers. You carry the cup to a small round window at the far wall. It is framed in dark oak. A gauzy lace curtain is loosely draped across its crown, falling to either side, pristine and pale as a bride's veil. Beyond the glass, the night yawns sleepily. Moonlight drapes itself across the gardens below like a silken coverlet, tucking them in to dream. You catch a faint glimmer of cascading water at the leafy heart of the boxwood maze. The fountain whispers bedtime stories to the flowers in their beds. They bow their petaled heads to listen before drooping into slumber. As you turn from the window, you see a tall dresser. Above it hangs a painting in a gilt frame. A beautiful young woman gazes out at you from the painting, her dark hair framed by a pale feathered headdress. She sits poised, her lovely face resting gracefully on one hand, as though she is contemplating the most wonderful secret. Her gown is a rich sweep of rose satin and silvered lace. The faintest suggestion of a smile lingers on her lips. Serene, timeless, and more than just a little enigmatic. The room feels like a secret world, crafted lovingly for comfort and rest. You think of the woman in the painting, and you wonder if this sanctuary was born of her imagination. You take in the room, its satin and silk, velvet and lace, lovingly cluttered with trinkets and treasures. Is this space not the purest expression of a longing to escape the burdens of daily life, to retreat into beauty and stillness? As you sip your tea, warmth slowly spreads through you. It sinks down into your belly and then flows outward to the very tips of your fingers and toes. It softens every muscle. You feel an incredible sense of lightness, as if every worry has drifted away far beyond your grasp, and farther still beyond the reach of your very thoughts. Here and now, in this moment, you are safe. You are warm. You are cared for. You set the cup aside and amble toward the bed. Draped across it, you notice the softest sleepwear, carefully tailored of fine mulberry silk. You hold it up against you to see it is just the right size. Slipping into the pajamas, they feel cool and supple against your skin. You fold back the coverlet and sink against softness. You feel as though you have been set adrift atop a billowing sea of goose down. Smooth satin sheets wash over the curve of your body like a cool, comforting wave. The sound of rain quietly announces itself, gently at first, as if not to intrude upon your thoughts too abruptly. Like delicate pearls dropping from a broken string, raindrops patter against the roof. Through the haze of beckoning sleep, you notice a doll's house near the window. It is curiously familiar, and then you realize it is an exact model of the very house that shelters you now. A strand of tiny fairy lights twinkles across its small gabled roofline, while its little windows reflect golden pinpoints of light. It seems to beckon you toward a land of make-believe, where every doorway hides a secret, and every room holds a wonder yet to be discovered. You pull the velvet quilt up around your shoulders and tuck it beneath your chin, sinking deeper into the feather mattress. The bed embraces you like a warm cocoon. You wonder, will you awaken transformed, with beautiful butterfly wings born from the quiet magic of deep restorative sleep? You release a deep sigh. A quiet peace settles over you now. Your gaze drifts upward through the window. The moon watches over you, protective and maternal. It blankets the room in argent light, and you imagine it bestows silvered kisses upon you, wishing you the most beautiful dreams. You take a long, deep breath, holding it for just a moment, and then releasing it back into the room, where you imagine it drifts up and away into the rafters and beyond. This simple act of letting go brings peace, inviting you toward the deepest, most restful sleep. Your lids are far too heavy to remain open. Slowly they drift closed. There is only darkness now. You feel as if you are sinking down, down, down into softness and stillness. Here, between sleep and waking, your thoughts begin to scatter as you drift toward the realm of dreams. A friendly dragon soars into view, vibrant wings outstretched. Its scales gleam softly as it flashes you a gentle grin. A regal lion stands watch, tall and proud, a golden crown tipped jauntily atop its great mane. The man in the moon glides past, his long nightcap slouched crookedly across his silver brow. One by one, the images blur and soften before they are swept away by the great tide of sleep. You let go completely. The tide surges once more to cradle you and whisk you away into the deepest state of healing slumber. Here, all is still. All is quiet. All is peaceful. Good night, dear friend. Sleep well.